Hey there, and welcome to Irritable Dad Syndrome, the official podcast for all you ladies on Valentine's Day. Hey guys, I hate to tell you this, but Valentine's Day was Sunday. I'm sorry. Anywho, here are your hosts, Mike and Darren.
All right, well, hello, everybody. I am Darren.
I'm Mike.
And we are very excited. This is episode 25 of the Irritable Dad Syndrome podcast. We're very excited tonight because we have a special guest. And we've done this show for 6 months now, and we haven't had a live guest yet until tonight. And our guest is actor, comedian Don Smith, and he's a very funny guy, and he hosts the Life radio show. And I just want to say, when we started this podcast, I think we were in episode 2 or 3, and Don Smith sends me a message, and he says, "Hey, man, I want to promote your show." And Don, you were nice enough to have us on your show, and thank you so much for that. We had a blast, and you probably, after we recorded the show, said, that show won't last.
If you're on episode 25, you've lasted. Because that's the average podcast lasts about 7 episodes, and then that's it.
Is that true? Is that what people give up on it?
Most podcasts
either is correct.
Right. If once you get past if you get up to like 7 to 10 episodes, you're an old timer, because most of them don't last that long.
I have heard that. We had to end our show. Remember, on the 7th, and our 8th episode was our big comeback episode.
That's right.
And there was a natural feeling of distaste when you came over to record the 8th video or the 8th podcast. I was about to say, get out of my house.
It's like, how many?
I don't want to. What is this, really?
I know you're why?
You were forced into doing the 8th one. Otherwise, it would. Is what you're saying.
No, Mike was seriously asking, why in the hell are we still doing this? But, I mean, our episode, not to brag, and it's not like we don't have like ginormous numbers, but we keep getting a little bit more popular each week.
Yeah, and we're not tricking everyone into listening. We had the one guy that thought that this was actually an irritable bowel syndrome podcast,
from Africa,
that Darren kept talking to in medical. The guy kept asking medical questions.
That would be a weird podcast. It would be very, very specific. And how much could you really talk about that?
I think you could do one episode tops.
Yeah, we just beat them in popularity, I think, 2 weeks ago.
Yes.
So
unless they're like using the podcast as like a group therapy thing.
Right. Well, no, I told you, my friend Jen, she was listening and she was looking for our show. She ran a search for it on Amazon Podcasts or wherever she ran the search for it. And it came up as the top choice. And she says, "Hey, you guys are more popular than Irritable Bowel Syndrome."
Yeah.
And that ended up being the title of the show we did when we were on your show, the Life radio show.
Yes.
Yeah. So anyway, Don, thanks for being our guest tonight. How you been? What's going on?
I've been good. I've been keeping busy. I'm taking 2 weeks off from the show, so I'm putting out a lot of throwback episodes right now, which I've been doing that for like the past, ever since COVID. I do 3 brand new episodes a week, plus I do a throwback from like 4 years ago or more. And it's a lot of fun, but I love being able to take a break. But I'm on like 520 some episodes right now. So
Lord. Yeah.
I've been having this going for a little while, but of course, comedy died. Comedy died with COVID. It was one of the first victims of COVID was comedy and live performances.
Right.
And I really haven't been doing a lot of comedy. I have been able to get back on movie sets again a couple times, but
I apologize. Typically I do. I thought I'd done my research because I had posted on our page, when I announced that you were going to be our guest, and I said, he's a regular at Wiley's. And do they still use your voice as the welcome to Wiley's? And we'll kick you out if you heckle the. Is that still your voice?
That's always done live.
Oh, okay. I thought.
Yeah, that was, and I did that a couple times. Usually John Morris does those.
Okay.
Or we'll grab a comic from the back and say, "Hey, you want to do the offstage intro?"
Welcome to Wiley's Comedy Club.
Yep. Every now and then you did I just hear?
Hey,
was
everybody!
that Krusty the Clown.
Yeah. But
yeah, those are done live while they're doing the bringing people up.
Yeah.
So,
but Wiley's, for anybody who's not in the greater Cincinnati area, Wiley's is still it's a fantastic comedy club. I've been there 3 times, and each time went, and I'm not bragging, but each time for me felt better than the last. There's always a good crowd, and but I'll tell you, how long did you guys have to close?
We had to close. I think it was like the second week of March.
Mm-hmm.
And we reopened right about the end of June. We did one show right before we did the fireworks competition.
Right.
So yeah, we were only closed a couple of months, but it was long enough for our bank to close our accounts, and we had to jump through some unbelievable hoops to open back up.
Yeah.
And I've been slowly working my way out. Because I love the club, I absolutely do, but the stress of being at the helm is just, there's only so much I can take, and 3 years of that, because I try to perform comedy when I can, I do film when I can, I have my radio show and podcast, I work a full-time job, plus with Wiley's on there, I mean, I was going nonstop. We'll put it this way: the last year that before COVID, I dropped, probably with everything that was going on, plus personal things in my life I won't get into. I dropped probably 75 pounds in a year, and
no
that's
kidding.
Not from exercising. That's just from drinking an overabundance of vodka and not eating any.
That sounds like a diet I need to get on.
Well, I will tell you that thanks to COVID, I have put it all back in more. People have talked about gaining the COVID-15.
Yeah.
I'm like at 85 now. So it's
okay. Okay.
So
go ahead.
I have a show announcement, is that for the past 20 minutes or so, we haven't been recording a damn thing. But
sweet. I love that. I have gone through an entire show. I've done this I've done the radio show for 6 years. I've done the podcast for over 4 now. Mm-hmm. And all that time, I have never forgot to record a show. I did it twice this past August.
Well, here's the deal. We have been streaming to Twitch. So at the end of this, I can go grab that and I can splice them together.
Okay.
So
you can go grab your Twitch.
Yeah.
Hello.
That's
hello.
Yes.
You can stick your Twitch in there when we're all done.
Well, I remember one time. So Don used to have Sunday comics, and comics could come by beforehand, like at 5 or 6 in the afternoon.
Yeah, the comics hang.
Comics hang and talk and go over material and work some stuff out. And he always provided snacks and stuff. Well, I got there one time, and I was the first one there, and it was the night after the freezer had blown, and oh my God, Don was just cursing up a streak, throwing bottle after bottle after bottle of beer that had busted.
Oh yeah,
and he's like, Darren, hey, you want to buy a comedy club? No one's offered to sell me their comedy club before.
It would have been real cheap. No, that's the thing. I love the place. I absolutely do. I hope it continues on forever. I wish it all the best.
Yeah.
It got to a point where every weekend I would go in and there would be some kind of just catastrophe. And it's like I told my business partner the one day, I said, dude, if you drove up to your house every day after work and you knew there was like a 60% chance that it was going to be on fire, I think you'd move.
Yeah.
And that's basically what it felt like. Is like every night going in there, it's like, what's gonna be wrong now?
Yeah. Well, I don't know that I talked to you about this, but something you could have done to stay open. You guys should have opened up a drive-through window.
Drive-through comedy.
Drive-through comedy. People come up. It's like, welcome to Wiley's. Would you like a 5-minute routine or a 10-minute routine?
We tried to do delivery, but not one person wanted a comedian to have their address. It was weird.
It's like this guy won't leave. Travis Charles will not leave my house. Yeah,
but he's moved in. He's sleeping on our futon right now. He's been here 6 months.
I don't know that he has a house.
I don't know.
Anyway. Well, listen, the main reason why I wanted to have you on, the big question that I wanted to ask you is, I don't know, do you know who Paris Hilton is, Don?
I do.
Okay,
I do.
So Paris Hilton, the news is out, Mike.
I didn't know if you were going to try to explain to me who Paris Hilton is.
Well, I know you. I've seen the magazines you have upstairs. So Paris Hilton has started a podcast, and she has described herself as an innovator, a first mover, and she said that voice and audio is the next frontier. And I think Paris Hilton is full of crap.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I mean, you've been doing your radio show and your podcast for years. I mean, we've done 25 episodes and we're ahead of her. You know?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why. It's like she's just putting her flag down, claiming that she's like
she started this. She's the innovator. She's not jumping on the bandwagon and probably have 1 million downloads in her first episode because she's Paris frickin' Hilton.
I mean, I think Al Gore had the first podcast, and that was after he invented the internet, right?
He invented the internet. He cured global warming, so that man should have a well followed podcast.
He should. You'd think so.
He even caught Man Bear Pig. If I recall.
Was that the Super Bowl of? Oh no, that was Puppy Monkey Baby.
South Park.
Yeah,
that was Puppy Monkey Baby.
Yeah, Man Bear Pig was South Park because he was half man, half bear, and half pig.
Yeah. The math doesn't quite seem to add up on that, does it?
Right. But when you have a combination like that, you got to expect some discrepancies.
Yeah. But no, anyway, I saw that and I just had to laugh. And what really is sad is that her podcast will instantly it's going to get just millions and millions of followers.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Yeah, really?
Unless there's video with like her screwing something, nobody's going to care.
Something.
Nobody's tuning into Paris Hilton
Not
for her
somebody,
brain.
something.
Nobody's tuning into Paris Hilton for her brain. They never did. It's like even that stupid show she did with Nicole Richie.
Nicole Richie, yeah.
Even
real
that.
life.
I mean, nobody was watching that because it was intelligent TV. They were watching it because they were pretty and stupid.
Well, there's the train wreck factor. I mean, I'll listen to the first episode just to hear what in God's name is she going to talk about.
Then you're adding to the problem.
I am.
Yeah, she's
going
to
talk
part of the problem.
That's what I do. I add to the problem.
Yeah, she's going to talk about purses, and she's going to talk about things that are so fetch. Yeah. And she's going to talk about
things that are so hot.
They're so hot, and that's just hot. That is so hot. And she's going to talk about like eyeliner, and I don't know.
You know, I would listen to her.
I'm going to see if I can get her on the Life radio show to do a cross promotion.
Okay, yeah, and then throw a bone our way, see if she'll do our show.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, she's not much more than bone, so I'll throw her over there. That's skinny shaming, isn't it?
I think so.
I apologize for that. That's wrong.
No, you're fine.
I'm apologizing to your listener.
Listener, singular. Nice. Thank you.
I was about to say Chris Hughes isn't here, but he is here. He popped up. He actually popped up in the chat.
We have a listener who we've actually banned from the show.
Yeah,
really?
Yeah, because he thinks he's funnier than we are.
He's right.
He's right.
Yeah,
he's annoying, and so we've banned him from the show. And I don't know. Apparently, he's just sadistic because he just gets all excited because he's not allowed on the show. So this is him like walking on fire. Or,
nice.
So
nice.
he just keeps testing us every week. But yeah, do you have any listeners that you can't stand?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think so. Most of my listeners, I don't get a lot of interaction with my listeners. They don't want to talk to me, I guess.
Well, sadly, we're still at the point where all our listeners are people we know.
Yeah. Now, I did get an angry email sent to the general manager at the radio station one time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because we talked about boobs.
Right.
Right. And she was, I think I actually I read her review on an episode. I think I read her email because the general manager forwarded to me and said, dude, you got to chill out. And I was like, that's hilarious. And I read it on the next episode, which I thought was funny.
Yeah, sure.
And I've always told people that anytime they want to, you can email thelife1069@gmail.com. And if you send me hate mail, I will read it on the air.
We haven't had any hate mail yet.
No, just the guy that thought we were irritable bowel syndrome doctors.
He sent us an email or a message on our Facebook page.
Hold on, you're not doing this story justice. Multiple messages because Bess was watching me. I was on my phone watching you converse with this guy. It was like in real time, and he said something like, "I have trouble farting when I'm walking."
Yes.
But it's like really broken English, like me trouble farting walking.
Well,
then you jumped in and said something like, "Hey, that's great. Why don't you come on the show and talk to us about it?" What the hell is he doing?
Invite him on the show.
I would have. That'd have been fantastic. See, I'm surprised I haven't gotten more angry emails and more hate mail because the Life radio show sounds like it's something that should be religious.
It does.
It does.
And it's anything but.
Right.
I mean, seriously, anything but we will talk about. If it has to do with butts, it's on my show.
You give no advice. You give no, it's like, you'd think that you go on there. How do I live my best life? I'm going to call Don Smith.
Yeah,
nope. Exactly. You would think that would be somebody's go-to. At least email me and say, what is your advice?
Right.
How should I proceed in my life right now?
Right.
And I'm disappointed that more people don't reach out to me for that because I think it would help. I think I could really help people.
Yeah. Well, Don,
I can't get my life together, but I think somebody else. I could tell so many people what to do.
Right.
Yeah.
I would love a show where you just gave nothing but constant life advice.
That would be great.
To live callers, though, you would want to hear somebody with the hope in their voice that you're going to be able to help them, and then hear the disappointment slowly creep in as the conversation goes on.
Yeah,
and then they're trying to get off the phone.
There for a while, I don't know if you guys heard of the bad advice line.
I haven't.
There was actually a number you could call, and I probably have the number somewhere, but you could call just for people to specifically give you bad advice. And what it was is it was actually a bunch of comedians in Cincinnati got together because somebody worked for like Verizon and they had access to a bunch of different numbers.
Mm-hmm.
And they had everybody tied in. It would go to just random comedians that gave this guy their number. And you could call it and it'd be, you never know who you're going to talk to. And it would be somebody just giving you the worst possible advice of whatever you asked. And every now and then they'd have like special weekends. They did a giraffe facts weekend where it was all fake giraffe facts. You would call somebody up and did you know that such and such was really a giraffe that won the NBA tournament? And just weird stuff that makes no sense, but it was a super fun phone number to call. I think we called it on the radio show a couple times.
Well, all giraffes are female.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah, I knew that. That's the only giraffe fact I know. So
right, but is it a made up fact? Because it doesn't count if it's true.
Well,
that's right.
You stumped me. You've totally stumped me.
So I want to break in real quick and explain because we've got more watchers
on the
viewers is what they're called. My God,
Twitchers.
I need to learn more words.
I call them twitchers.
More twitchers, more twitching people.
Not tweakers. That's a different thing.
No, that's our after midnight show.
So I got to point out to you people on Twitch that this is unedited. So if you want to hear nice words, wait till next Tuesday. This will come out in podcast form, and all the bad words will have been quacked. Having said that, Chris Hughes just put a middle finger emoji up, and then right under it, he typed out middle finger. It's the first I've ever had in closed captions.
Wow.
It's
it's in case you couldn't tell.
We're not smart enough to know what
they might show up small enough that you might think It's just a with really big.
Exactly. No,
You have to point out that, hey, this is a middle finger.
Is that
Don't think this is a pick.
It's like, is that his pinky finger? He's what? Why is he?
Right? Is he waving with his pinky? Is he the queen now? Is he drinking tea? What's going on? Yeah. So you should be appreciative of the man making sure that you knew. That was a middle finger.
Oh man. So Don, how did you get a lot of snow up in your neck of the woods?
It's just the weather. Yeah. We did. We got a little bit. It wasn't a whole lot, but it was enough to make other people drive stupid.
Yeah. Well, one of the segments we do on this show is called Just Stop, where Mike and I encourage people, businesses, whoever, there's a certain activity that people need to cease and desist, and my Just Stop has to do with the snow that we have. I'm not just bringing it up because I'm bored and I'm talking about the weather like I'm on a phone call with my mother.
Okay, it was a very unnatural segue, but we're good.
I'm sorry. No. I'm getting into something.
I was as confused as you, Don, and I've been talking to this guy for 25 episodes now. So go ahead.
So there's a thing that I want people to stop. As soon as we get a large amount of snow, people go and they take pictures of the ruler in the snow, and nobody cares how much snow you had at your house. It's like you get to, it's just you're walloped with snow, and guys like, Denise, get my ruler, get my measuring stick, and they're out there measuring the snow, and nobody cares.
Yeah.
I don't care.
I don't really see that much of that. I mean, you guys must be tied into some different Facebook groups than I am.
Well, no, I think I saw 5 people today on the Facebook talking about how many inches of snow they had at their house.
I have not. I have seen 0.
Yeah. They could be more creative, like throw a baby out in the snow and take a picture of that. You could.
The snow is one baby.
The baby later, just
one baby deep.
Reference.
That's how much snow we had. Right. Yeah.
Right.
But
we got 2 babies worth of snow out there, but they were babies laying on their back. They were 2 flat babies.
2 flat babies.
We were going to stand them on their feet, but they're babies. They can't stand up. Come on.
Right. All they did was crawl, and, you don't want to do that. So, and the bad thing is it's really hard to stack them up if the one on the bottom's crawling. So you got to put them under.
It is very hard to stack babies.
Babies tend to move. They
do. They do.
A little animated somewhat at times. So it's really hard to stack them.
Yeah. But
especially if you get more than 2, forget it.
Yeah.
But you're going to have a baby crash landing. Just be thankful it's in the snow and they're not going to hurt themselves.
We're stacking babies tonight, kids.
Yep, this is the baby stacking.
The baby stacking segment of the show.
Sometimes an irritable dad's got to stack a few snow babies. That's
exactly.
We interrupt our show for this important announcement. Congratulations to Jim Boyce, Irritable Dad Syndrome's podcast listener of the week. This has been an important announcement. I'm Dave Lay.
But there's also something that I think people should start doing. If you're not doing this, I shoveled my driveway today, and then I had my kids shovel the sidewalk that goes up to our front porch. And the FedEx guy came and made a delivery today. And it was just as I was walking by the door, and I opened the door, and I said, "Hey, thanks a lot." And he says, "You're welcome." And he says, "Hey, thanks for shoveling your driveway, your sidewalk." He says, "Nobody does that." He says, "Usually they do the drive, and they don't do the sidewalk up to the door." And these guys, they're making packages, deliveries all day long, and they're having to tromp through the snow. Shovel your sidewalk that goes up to your front porch.
I don't want anybody coming up to my door. I put bamboo shoots in the snow if I could.
Well, you have barbed wire around your house.
See, here's that my neighbor kid actually shoveled my steps and my sidewalk this last time, which is really cool. It's good to have a neighbor kid that does stuff. He mowed my yard for me like half of the summer.
Okay.
I didn't ask.
Did you pay him?
I did.
Oh well, then.
I didn't pay him to shovel the sidewalks, but
right.
Yeah. I absolutely paid him to mow my yard because I don't shovel my sidewalk because I don't care. Because basically, if you shovel your sidewalk, you have cleaned it. You have supposed to have been making that safe. And now if somebody slips and falls on it, they can sue you because you altered what nature did.
That's true.
Oh, okay. Oh, no, I'm not talking about the sidewalk in front of your house. I'm talking about the one that goes to your front door.
Right.
Okay. And
I live back in a cul-de-sac. We don't have a big circular sidewalk out there. I just have what goes to my front door.
Yeah.
So I make them walk in the snow unless the neighbor kid wants to be nice again.
Speaking of shoveling, is there anything funnier than little kids shoveling snow?
Mine won't. My kids will not shovel the snow, so I don't know.
What ages are they?
Well,
7 and 13.
Are we back to babies crawling around now? Do you strap a scoop to their head so they can shovel, kind of like bulldozer babies? They just, because they're going to crawl anyway, so you might as well have them get some work done.
No, I remember my son. I think he was 12. And he was out helping, and I'm using quotations mark when I say he was helping me shovel the driveway. He was on the left side of the driveway, and he would scoop, and then he would throw it to his right. And so and then he would move to the right, and he would shovel the snow that he just shoveled.
Yeah.
And part of me, Don, was just wanting to sit back and like, how long is it going to take this kid to realize that he keeps putting the snow right? He keeps shoveling the same patch of snow.
Yeah.
It was going on all day, and I'm like, buddy. And finally I just sent him inside because I felt so sorry for him.
Yeah, I wouldn't have. That's a teaching moment right there. You need to step up your dad game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a parent, but
well,
if I was, my kids would hate me.
I remember when Mike and I did your show, Mike and I were telling stories about our kids and when they were little, and I think the next day you went and had a vasectomy.
That is very likely, because I did have one, and it's one of the best things I've ever done.
Yep.
It hurts like hell, honestly.
It
doesn't now, but it did at the time.
It really.
I'm not going to get into it because we've already. But you talk about where you already lost some Twitch viewers, and I talk about something that'll make you twitch when they grab that thing and yank it out of you.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this podcast is painful enough as
it is. That's exactly what I was thinking. No, I would be a dad a lot like my dad, because my dad he didn't teach you things. He let you learn and then gave you the lesson afterwards.
Exactly.
I learned about electricity that way with a key and an outlet.
Mm-hmm. Hurts, don't it? Yeah,
because he could have stopped me. He was right there, but he wanted to make sure that I wasn't going to do that again.
Yeah. So, Don, what projects do you have coming up? I was saying at the beginning of the show that you're an actor, and you do your podcast and you have your radio show, but what kind of projects do you have coming up? What's out there that people might have seen?
That people might have seen? Mm-hmm. Nothing. No, there's a lot out there. There's a lot available on Amazon right now. I did a while back. I think a lot of stuff's still out there. I did. There was a series called Boggy Creek. It's all about Bigfoot, and I get to. I'm a character. I'm one of the featured lead is what they called it on episode 2, which was a lot of fun. 6 Feet Below Hell is always a great one to look up that I was in. Over the summer, Black Mamba and the Goocher both released, and neither one of them is porno.
So all of these are your romantic comedies. Have you done anything scary or off-putting there?
Yeah. I was gonna 6 Feet Below Hell. Was that about your first marriage?
No, that was about the current one.
No, the current
one. No, that 6 Feet Below Hell was just super fun. It's a zombie movie, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And I play a character named Reggie, which is he was a super fun character to play because I was never actually cast as Reggie. I stepped in when somebody left the project because I wasn't due on set for like 3 more weeks. And I've told this story so many times on so many different shows, but I was cast as a different character that wasn't due on set for like 3 or 4 weeks. And the day before they were going to start shooting for the first weekend, the guy that was playing Reggie backed out. He just called the director and said, I'm not going to do this.
Mm-hmm.
So of course the director's mad as hell, and he gets in the Facebook group and he says, well, I got to rewrite this, and this, and it just drives me nuts. And I got a hold of him. I was like, well, don't rewrite. I said, I'll step in. I'm free tomorrow. I can come play Reggie, and you have 3 weeks to recast my role.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, okay, that's fine. So crisis averted. We get to set that day, and the guy that was supposed to let us into the set was actually passed out drunk inside. So not only did Reggie, we had to scramble to get that role filled. We get to set, and we didn't have a set for 2 hours. We scrambled and found another location to film within 2 hours. We got there. The only problem is the way that first scene with Reggie was written. Nothing matched. So we didn't really have a script. The first scene I did with Reggie was completely unscripted and ad lib, and we had so much fun doing that scene that the director actually rewrote the ending of the movie. Reggie was supposed to die originally.
Mm-hmm.
He rewrote the ending of the movie and brought Reggie back to kill one of the main bad guys.
Oh, wow.
Because it never actually showed Reggie's death. It showed him getting carried off by zombies. And, I made the joke that Reggie's such an idiot that they couldn't find any brain to eat. So he was a zombie too, and let him go by professional courtesy.
In all the zombie shows I've ever seen, I've never seen them carry somebody off. I've just they pretty much
well, it didn't really show them carrying.
It's not like a carry out order there. They just eat it right there.
We'll eat this one later.
They attacked me, and I kind of got tied in with I didn't actually show my death, so they were able to bring me back at the end.
Zombies
all torn up like I'd been hanging with the zombies for the last 45 minutes of the film.
Put him in some zombie Tupperware and throw him in the back of the fridge.
Carry home. Heat you up later.
Right. Next to that half-eaten.
You never know.
I'm stuffed. I can't possibly eat this much now.
Try new zombie ware. It seals in the freshness. You pop it open. Ooh, fresh brain. You'll never know the difference. Yep, zombie takeout. Sometimes you got to have there'd be a zombie bag, I guess, like a doggy bag.
Exactly.
Carry it home in a zombie bag. But no, it was a 6 Feet Below Hell is a super fun film. But Black Mamba is a really good one, and the Goocher, which, like I said, both sound like porn. Neither of them are.
Yeah. Right.
Those were both released over the summer. We just finished filming Black Wolf. We're looking for distribution on that now. I think it may be there. I can't say too much about it.
Right.
As far as what's coming up, I have a couple of films that are coming up. We have one with the same director as Black Mamba and the Goocher and 6 Feet Below Hell, William Lee. I work with him on a lot of projects. We have another one coming up with him, and there's actually one that Mike Canistero, Dayton comedian Mike Canistero, has written.
I've heard his name.
He's getting ready to film that one, and I don't want to I can't go too much into detail. It's called Big Trouble in Jackass Flats. It's a Western. I play a mayor that is not very happy about being a mayor and can't seem to lose an election.
Uh-huh.
And in fact, I think the last 2 elections I won, I didn't even run, but the town voted me in anyway. So it's a very.
I haven't even seen a clip, but I'm smelling Oscar. Yeah. I'm really smelling Oscar.
A clip doesn't exist yet because nothing's been filmed.
Sounds like a modern.
This is still in the process, but it's gonna be super fun. I looked at some of the cast involved. Mm-hmm. It's gonna be a blast. I think Luke Capasso's in it. Erin R. Ryan, who I have been killed by Erin Ryan in so many movies, and she is one of the sweetest people in the world to get killed by.
Okay.
Yeah, she did. She even killed me once it wasn't even a movie. Weren't actually filming a movie. We were filming a trailer that was going to be used in another movie as a trailer for something else.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Which was a very weird thing, but she she actually I pretty much exploded in that movie. There was so much blood when she killed me, and it was just like everywhere. They hooked a little like a fire hose tank. They had that running up through my suit.
Uh-huh.
And it just blasted blood out the front of my shirt when it was so much fun. I was drenched in blood from that.
That sounds like it'd be fun at parties.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. It's the blood cannon. That's what.
Now, in college I was in a band called Blood Cannon.
Really? Yeah. That doesn't surprise me. That doesn't surprise me.
It sounds like all your movies are, fun for the whole family.
Absolutely, they are. They're family movies. They really are. They really are. Actually, there is one not too long ago, a short film I did that's very family friendly, for your family friendly viewers right now, called Buttons, which was it was a really sweet kind of. It's a short film. I believe you can find it on probably find it on YouTube.
I saw Buttons. It was very good.
Yeah, it was a very sweet, feel good kind of holiday movie. Yeah,
it was very, very good.
Cool. Yeah, so I do some sweet movies like that, just very rarely.
Don, that's what I call you're showing range.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, showing range.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, today on our page, speaking of movies and television, Mike started an argument between the two of us.
I didn't start anything. I stated a fact.
You stated
a fact.
Came
in with your bullcrap.
Go ahead and tell the world.
Sometimes stating a fact is the same thing as starting an argument, especially if you're speaking with a woman.
Well,
specify with a wife. If you're talking with a wife, stating a fact is the same as starting an argument.
Every time.
So you're talking about the Remington Steele thing.
Yes.
Who doesn't love Remington Steele?
I never said I didn't love Remington Steele.
I just said but
I don't.
Yeah.
But no. So Don, today, Mike, out of nowhere, and we need to start talking before we make.
No, we don't.
Posts.
If we start talking, it's going to go to hell.
I know. Well, last week you posted a picture of Lucky Charms cereal. It had nothing to do with anything. And
I was talking about you too.
Don't know what
Lucky Charms and you too. Come on.
Okay. Anyway, Don, today Mike decides that we need to do a reboot of Remington Steele.
Not we do a reboot. Well, I'm not going to put on a wig.
The world,
so not you guys. It's something that you think is needed.
Everything else has come back. Why not bring some class back?
They need to stop doing reboots altogether.
Not that one.
Okay, so now
they can stop after that one.
So when they do this reboot of Remington Steele, will Pierce Brosnan be in it?
Hopefully.
Will they do a hologram of Doris Roberts?
Do we bring the original cast back, or do we cast in new people? I don't know
They're
who
all
would be
dead.
the new Pierce Brosnan. He's not dead.
Well, he's almost dead.
I hope.
But Doris Roberts was the boss on it, right?
Yeah.
From Everybody Loves Raymond?
Yeah.
I mean, I know who Doris Roberts is. I have never watched Remington Steele, so I don't care.
Right.
Yeah.
But this is out of nowhere.
It came on after MacGyver. It was always on right after MacGyver. It could never get that spot.
Uh-huh.
Right, because MacGyver, I watched MacGyver and I was like, that's enough. What's coming on next? Remington Steele, that sounds like something I don't want to see.
Magnum P.I. can kick Remington Steele's ass.
Well, it's not about who can kick his ass.
His mustache. His mustache alone could do that.
Yes.
Yeah.
But anyway, so...
That's like Chuck Norris. Magnum P.I.'s mustache is almost like Chuck Norris's beard. I would like to see the two of them just going at it.
Oh, that would be awesome. Yeah, just Steele versus Steele.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if you took away my ability to post and say stupid stuff, this whole show just goes to snot.
We got a point. You do have a point.
Right.
Immediately.
Yeah. You know what, Mike? You're right, and I apologize. And I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Yeah, because it was a couple weeks ago. I think I posted a picture of cheese. I don't know.
Yeah.
I have to say, if that's your argument, you two are far less irritable than your name would suggest.
Somebody like in week 3 or 4 wrote in and said, these guys aren't as irritable as I was hoping for.
Well, yeah, something that I noticed, I was telling Darren, is that it seems like our more popular shows tend to be ones with titles that could almost be mistaken for actual parenting podcast title. Like one of them, one of our most popular ones is "Did Your Parents Supervise You at All?" And where that title comes from is where I lost my crap at some point in the middle of the podcast, and Darren just got you got frustrated and said, "Did your parents supervise you at all?"
Well, you were telling a story about how your mom left you alone for like 4 days with nothing to eat but crackers, and you were watching.
How old were you?
He was
like maybe 3-4 months, but it doesn't matter. It's
okay. Well, that's fine.
The point is that
his parents let him watch anything he wanted, anytime he wanted. He watched Halloween when he was 5 years old.
But
that's why you're traumatized now.
Exactly. One of the other titles was made with real ingredients. You know, any of these that look like they could potentially be a parenting podcast, which cracks me up because we already got the guy with the irritable bowel syndrome. Now we're getting some, that people that would probably listen to the Paris Hilton podcast are looking to our podcast for parenting advice. They're firing this thing up and they're hearing you go on and on about whatever it is that you yab on about while I'm trying to think of something to say. And then me yammering on about you too. That's all they're hearing. They're like, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
And they go on with their lives. That's most of our listeners have been tricked and duped into listening to our crap.
Right.
That makes sense.
That's why they listen one time and then they leave.
Yeah.
Right. You got the one and done listeners. You have those from time to time.
Every once in a while we do come up with some good parenting advice, which I'm about to impart right now.
Oh, you have parenting advice?
A little bit. Well, I want to talk about movies because so I got 2 kids. I got the 13-year-old and the 7-year-old.
And you know their names, right?
Yeah, I think. Good. I just don't know which one goes with which.
He knows their names, the 13-year-old and the 7-year-old.
Right.
So he named them that so they change their names every year.
So the younger one.
Otherwise, he would have no idea how old they are.
Right. Yeah, so the younger one, I know he's younger because he's smaller than the other one. He always wants to go to the like most hardcore of. Okay, so here's the deal. He's recently got into Wolverine or the X-Men. So we watched all the Marvel movies. If you look on Disney Plus, Wolverine is now on Disney Plus. Well, he has put 2 and 2 together. He noticed that we have Logan. Now, I don't know. You've seen Logan, Darren. I don't know if you've seen Logan.
I have not seen Logan.
Well, you haven't seen it.
No.
Okay, so
I haven't either.
So Logan is the rated R version of Wolverine that answers the question, what would happen if Quentin Tarantino got to direct Wolverine and he got to use his claws all the time and it's all on camera with blood flying everywhere, decapitated heads, going past the camera, pausing just long enough to, for you to see all the gore.
Nice.
That kind of movie, just Wolverine Unleashed. Of course, that's all he wants. That's all he's talking about is wanting to see this movie.
Right. That makes sense.
So I tried to trick him by making him think one of the other movies is Logan, but he's too smart for that.
Charlie's smarter than anybody in your family.
So you've got that going on. And then, I tried to point out to him that not all of these movies are for kids. And my example that I used was Batman versus Superman. I pointed out that his older brother, we almost had to leave the theater because of the violence of that. Now he wants to see Batman versus Superman. But the Batman versus Superman thing was horrible. We were in the theater. Andrew was getting a little upset because of all the guns. He was scared of guns at the time. All right. And I lean over to him.
I hope you got him corrected at that.
Yeah, I did. So I leaned over to him because Batman came on the screen and he was getting really nervous. I leaned over to him and I said, buddy, you don't have to worry because Batman, he never uses any guns and he never kills anyone. That's his 2 rules.
Right.
The next scene is a nightmare scene that is occurring, and Batman pops up out of a tank with, it looks like an AK-47 and mows down about 20 dudes. Bullets are hitting their favorite, the whole thing. And
I've never seen that, but I've just actually gained some respect for Batman on that.
Yeah. It wasn't a great movie. You're not missing anything.
It wasn't. That part was great.
I haven't seen any of the Batman movies in a long time, so I don't really figure I'm missing anything with those.
Yeah. Well,
ever since Batman became asthmatic, there's just because what is that guy they had playing him for a while?
Christian Bale.
Yeah, the asthmatic Batman. I couldn't get it. I couldn't get into that, Commissioner. It's like somebody give him his inhaler. He's got to have one on his utility belt.
Exactly.
He's got everything else on there, but he forgot his inhaler.
He's got anti-shark spray on his belt. He's got
right.
I'm going back to we'd let the kids watch the original Batman series.
Yeah.
It's on the Roku channel or one of our streamers.
Yeah. You're talking like what's his name?
Adam West and
Adam West
and Burt Ward. Yeah. And Libby and I are just, that's my wife. We're just dying laughing because of how cheesy it is.
Yeah.
And the boys are just looking at each other like, how long is this thing going to last? And we thought that we were wrong. We were so wrong. We thought that they would get a kick because of just how stupid it was. Because I always remember.
Now they just think that you're stupider than they did before.
That's been them for as long as they've known me. Well, one of the things for people who are, we've got Don Smith here from the Life Radio Show, and one of the things that Don does on his show every week is Don, you explore weird and just crazy news stories.
I do. And
to pay homage to you, I went and I found a few, and I hope that you haven't already mentioned them on your show, but I found 3 really good ones. I'm not going to read the stories. I'm not a newscaster, but now
I have to say, are they new news or are they like old stuff that's really funny?
They're pretty recent.
Because
they're hilarious.
I've had people send me things. It's like, you should talk about this, and I look at it and it's like 4 years old. It's like, no, it's news. So
no,
okay.
This is very recent. There was a Kentucky animal shelter that now offers this service. You can have a cat poop on the name of your ex.
Okay, well, it's a good Valentine service.
Exactly. Yeah. You could pay money. And I'm like, why don't they just go get Chris Hughes and he'll do it for free?
Yeah, he will.
Yeah.
Because there are some zoos where you can go and you can pay money to have them name like a rat or a cockroach after your ex, and then they'll feed it to another animal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just
there are some people out there that just need to get over things. That's really
Well, I mean, it's a ridiculous waste of money.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, you can still do it. You can you can have a star named after somebody. And,
right.
Okay. So how are you going to know if somebody named that same star after you?
Well, that's my goal. That's my goal.
You have to make sure,
right?
Yeah.
That's all sorted out. Just like when you get your moon real estate, you have to make sure that deed is very specific.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, that's one of my goals, is to be at one of these birthday parties where that's unveiled. This is your star that I had named for you.
Right.
At which point I yell from across the party, bullshit.
Right.
And come over. That's my star.
Right.
Yeah. It's blood cannon.
Exactly.
You know.
Right.
It's. To back off.
Step off my star. Yeah.
Blood cannon sounds like a red dwarf too.
I don't think I would pay.
That's going to be if I start playing World of Warcraft again, I'm going to have a dwarf named Blood Cannon.
Oh no! Don't you see? I'm a World of Warcraft recovering addict.
Mm-hmm.
So
Are you?
Just the mention of that makes me. I have all of the collector's editions. I don't even play that. I haven't even played the damn game for about 3 years, but I keep buying whenever, because I was fortunate enough to get the original collector's edition, the one that you had to trample babies and punch pregnant women in the face to grab, Best
totally
Buy.
Worth it.
That one, after I got that one, I was like, I have to have them all now.
Yeah.
And
if you get to trample children and punch pregnant ladies,
that's a win.
Getting the game at that point is just like a bonus.
Yeah.
Plus, Jared loves when I start talking about video games on the podcast. I love that you brought World of Warcraft up, Don.
It was that video game that taught me a very valuable lesson, which is to check the box after you buy it, because I bought World of Woodcraft. And I spent 2 hours making a dining room table, and I'm like, this is the most boring video game I've ever seen.
So I was at the point when I stopped playing it, I got huge into it all the way up until Wrath of the Lich King. And I was in one of these weird achievement hunts where it was the holidays. Every time a holiday, like a real holiday, came around, you had to do stuff. And I remember we were going on vacation, and it was the feast of something, whatever. I forget what it was, but there was some achievement I was going to miss out on during the week of our vacation. And I took my laptop. It was like 8 a.m. every morning. I'm logging on to get the thing, and I have a pet dragon from it now.
I bet you do.
Every once in a while, I guess I can get on and fly around my pet dragon that I
almost,
I got a pet dragon.
I have a friend that when they released Lich King, he took like 3 weeks he used all of his vacation to play Wrath of the Lich King when it came out.
I would say I respect a man like that. That one was worth it.
Yeah, and well, he was very dedicated to it. For a guy that was in his 50s. I've never seen a man at his age that was that dedicated to video games. He was telling me once, I had so much respect for him as a human being anyway, because he called his wife cheating on him with a friend of his that drove a convertible, and he had that guy's convertible filled with concrete. But that's a different story.
My God.
He came home from work. He came home from work for lunch, and he knew what was going on as soon as he got there. And this guy's convertible was parked in front of his house with the top down, and there was some construction going on down the street. Oh. So he walked down to the guy that was driving the cement truck, and he said, "I will give you every dollar I have on me right now if you go fill that car up with concrete and then leave. Nobody will know who you are or where you were." But he had like $1,200 in his wallet.
I think they can trace and figure out who was laying concrete that day. I mean,
never reported him. That guy got in no trouble for it. This guy went to court for doing that because, of course, he's not going to give up the name of the guy that just filled the car up with concrete.
Yeah.
And when the whole story came out, I think the judge, he fined him and he made him pay to have the interior of the car cleaned.
Wow.
Well, you can't.
That was it.
You can't just clean out concrete.
Yeah. Exactly. Because it was destroyed. I mean, it bent the frame.
Yeah.
So the car's destroyed, and it was just... So he immediately became my hero. But he was telling me once, he was getting ready to... He played what's the Modern Warfare or something like that. Which
Call of Duty.
Yep. Call of Duty, I think, back in the day. When that first came out, he was big into that. And I guess he was taking a shower one day, and he had the game on and was just sitting there. And while he's taking his shower, he starts to hear a gunfight going on.
Mm-hmm.
So he jumps out of the shower, grabs his controller, sits down on his wife had these white decorative pillows. He didn't want to sit down on the floor because he was wet and covered with soap.
Right.
So he had shampoo in his hair, and he sat there. He said, "I was there for like 3 hours doing this battle." And the wife comes home and just has a fit.
Yeah.
So it's like, I've never met a guy that age that was that dedicated to video games.
Yeah.
He was an interesting individual.
Oh, that's awesome. I still can't believe the concrete in the car.
Oh yeah, that was because I heard about that when it happened. This was like back in the early 90s, like late 80s, early 90s when this happened.
Yeah.
Or maybe midnight, something like that. But I remember hearing the story when it happened. And I got to talking to him one day because I worked with him for a couple years, and I got to talking to him one day, and he was telling me that story, and it's like, dude, I remember that because my dad was watching the news when we saw that, and of course, my dad thought that was the greatest thing in the world.
Yeah, you really got to hate somebody. That's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, check this out. Dateline, California. This is from February 4th. A California man said he was shocked when the wallet he lost 53 years ago was returned to him after being found in the place where he lost it, Antarctica.
Okay. What the hell was he buying in Antarctica?
That's what I'm saying. The guy was a meteorologist. He was in the U.S. Navy, and it was in 1967 when he lost his wallet. And that's my question. Why are you carrying a wallet around?
What did that penguin see you doing that you had to pay him off?
What are you going to buy?
Exactly,
some snow?
Exactly, because there's something going on there. No, I had a gentleman as a guest on the Life radio show a while back. I believe the episode was called Globies and Ballers. He called himself Flat Earth Dave.
Oh God, you had a flat earther on your show?
I did, and it was actually interesting.
Mike and I are fascinated.
I would love
with the
to have
earthers.
a flat earther. I would love to have a flat earther.
We'll reach out to him. He'll probably do your show.
I'm not that fascinated.
I mean, he wasn't a jerk or anything. It was actually an interesting conversation because I had no idea what they actually thought. And this is the truth. They think that we live in the Antarctic basin. That the edge, there's no edge of the earth. It's just a lot larger than we think it is, and it's flat.
It's a wall of, was it like a wall of ice that goes around the outer edge? Yeah.
And that's why nobody's allowed to explore Antarctica, because the quote unquote world governments want to keep us in this basin. They don't want us to know the truth,
right?
Because that's the power they have over us.
Yeah.
Well, that's my thing.
It's why nobody's allowed to actually go explore Antarctica. So if the flat earthers get wind of this guy's wallet being found in there and somebody returning it to him, they're going to have a fit, because they're going to know that's going to tie right in with their whole theory.
Yeah.
But that's my thing. I want to see a picture of the edge of the world, of the earth. And then I want, to climb over that wall, and I want to take the camera and show me what's underneath the earth. And then I'll believe them.
Yeah.
Until then, they're full of crap. Absolutely full of crap.
Well, you never know. I mean, how do we know?
I'm pretty sure we know.
Well, I'm pretty sure too. But, yeah.
What's wild is, people were talking about, whenever somebody talks about Mars or the rings of Saturn, and I always jump in and say, Saturn's flat. And then they look at me like I'm nuts.
Yeah.
I'm like, come on, they're all flat. The moon, flat. The sun, the sun is so flat. Unbelievably flat.
If
flat,
not, they
flat.
should be flattened.
Exactly.
Yeah. I think it was, this is like one of our early or this is before we even had a podcast. Because Darren and I, the podcast, I think we told you before, Don, and we've certainly told our listeners so many times they're sick of hearing it.
Oh, yeah.
But the way this thing started is that we would be at different events for our kids. And, the kids are doing their thing like scouts or punching each other or ritual sacrifice, wherever the hell they were.
I kind of miss when we would go to ritual sacrifices.
And we would stand there and just talk about stuff. And I remember I had spent the weekend watching nothing but flat earth YouTube videos, and came out of the house just unshaven, unwashed, and crazy-eyed. And Darren's like the first adult conversation I have. And I start telling him all this stuff. And he's like, where did you get this? And it's that YouTube algorithm where you watch something like, you see a funny video of like a Bert puppet doing something unnatural to a banana, and then you watch that, and it suggests another video of like a Grover puppet doing something horrible, and you just that's
the rabbit hole, right?
Yeah,
there,
the rabbit hole. So I just watched like at least 5 to 6 hours straight of flat earth videos, and it just went weirder and weirder.
Yeah.
So to the point to where when I'm in a conversation like this and you're saying, they think we live in Antarctica Basin, I just, instead of saying, what? I'm like, oh yeah, the wall of ice around a thing.
Right.
So you've looked into it as well.
Oh, I've been down that. I've been down all through that.
Well, there's that great documentary on Netflix, Behind the Curve?
Behind the Curve,
about the flat earthers. And if you haven't seen it, I cannot recommend it enough.
Yeah.
And it follows the Flat Earth Society, and it's about an hour and a half, and it's just as entertaining as you can get.
It's great.
It's no 6 feet below hell.
Right, that's true. That's true. Now, I do want to. I sent you a message earlier. There's always something that I forget. Every week, I also do a panel podcast called Breaking the Fourth Wall.
Yes.
And if you enjoy my news stories on the Life Radio show, my segment on Breaking the Fourth Wall, we actually start out. It's called the News Buffet.
Mm-hmm.
Now, one of the things that I do on the News Buffet and on the Life Radio show is I have not looked at these news stories ahead of time.
Right.
Yeah.
I am pulling them up as we're speaking on the show. So I'm going into it as blind as my guest is. And that's what half the fun is. Because I did these for years on the radio show. And I was often accused, if I came up with a really good, something really hilarious about what we were talking about, I've actually been accused of looking at them ahead of time and writing jokes about them. And I don't do that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I actually pulled one up while we were talking. Can I do a news story on your show?
Absolutely. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay. New Zealand authorities have sentenced a woman who tried in 2019 to smuggle nearly 1,000 cacti and succulents into the country strapped to her body.
I've got the same story that I was going to read next.
Well, is it? Is it? Because I haven't looked at this one. The woman, Wen King Lee, 38, pleaded guilty to violating biosecurity laws after she was caught twice with plants and seeds at Auckland International Airport when returning home to the city from China. New Zealand's Ministry of for Primary Industries said in a statement on Wednesday. She was sentenced to intensive supervision, whatever the hell that is, for 12 months and 100 hours of community work. On March 24th, 2019, Lee strapped stockings containing 947 succulents and cacti, valued at over $10,000, to her body and attempted to bring them into the country. The cacti included 8 endangered and threatened species. She tried to dispose of the items in the airport toilet after attracting the attention of a detector dog. They have dogs that specifically sniff out cactus.
Yeah.
I love the fact that they specifically cited out biosecurity laws.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a point at which it doesn't matter what the law is. They just screwed up and they need to go to jail. And when you got 900 of those things strapped to you, it's over.
Yeah, her husband was like, I thought she just hadn't shaved her legs.
That's 947. That is a lot of plants to strap to anyone.
I
would think that there are so many stupid Guinness World Records out there that people get. I would think somewhere there would be a certain amount of succulents and cacti strapped to the body. And this has to be the record. So there you go, Miss Lee. You have at least got the record for that. I mean, that it needs to be there. If she's going to get busted for this and get 12 months of intensive supervision.
I mean,
I've like house arrest, not prison, not a commuted sentence.
You got to watch. You got to watch somebody.
Intensive supervision. Somebody has to follow her around like everywhere.
Yeah. I mean, I have never seen one plant, one cacti, one succulent that I was like, oh, I've got to have that.
Like, I have
Mike, watch out.
And then to me and smuggle this in.
I
won't
putting
say
that
I've never
in my pants, and I am getting on the plane, and I'm taking this home. This is mine.
Yeah.
This is my cacti.
Yeah. Well, what gave her away is one of them was an 11-foot saguaro.
Hey, these are cactus jokes, people. Try to keep up. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, we're doing cactus jokes here on the live. It's not even on the live, on Irritable Dad. See, I don't even know what show I'm on.
This is going great in Arizona. Yeah.
Yeah, we're killing out in Tombstone.
All right, Don. Well, listen, we've got a few more minutes, and I was going to do some lightning round questions for you. Are you ready?
No, but go ahead.
Yeah.
The meal that you have in the evening, do you call it dinner or supper?
Depends on the day.
Okay.
Usually it's dinner.
Okay.
There we go.
Now, are you married or single? Are you married or single?
Next question. I am married, living blissfully alone.
Fantastic. No, I was wondering, it's like, because you try to ask a girl, hey, you want to go get some supper? It doesn't sound like it's going to work. Yeah.
You want some supper?
Some supper? Yeah.
Yeah.
So as far as Pop-Tarts, do you eat those toasted or do you eat those fresh out of the bag?
I eat those with my pants off. Really, that's the only rule I have. I cannot eat Pop-Tarts, which is really weird when I'm nibbling on them walking through the grocery store. Because I can't even run from security because they're around my ankles. I can't,
And then you've got cactus falling out of your pants.
Yeah. Right, exactly. I dropped my saguaro. But I will say it's quite succulent.
Yes. Because I remember I can eat Pop-Tarts right out of the box. I don't like toasting them. And my mom,
I don't either. It wastes too much time.
Yeah, my mom would say, how do you eat those raw? I'm like, it's not meat.
Yeah,
it's not
right.
It's like eating a piece of bread that's not toasted.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like you had to go out and hunt it and clean it. You have to gut your Pop-Tart or it'll taint the meat. No, it's a Pop-Tart.
Going out and gutting your Pop-Tart. Oh my God!
I think I just heard a show title.
Yeah, gut your Pop-Tart. Don, do you have any OCD habits?
I have a lot of OCD habits.
Okay.
My dad was severely he's still around. He's severely OCD. So a lot of that got on to me. And I think one of the weirdest ones that I do is when I take my socks off at night, I always take my left sock off inside out. Just the left one. The right one is not inside out. The reason is when I do the laundry, I can match them back up. Because you can't wear a right sock on your left foot because they stretch different. And then you have that little dangly bit that curls up by your little toes and it irritates the hell out of me. So no, that is one of my weirdest OCD things. And that is not a lie. That is actually my first wife thought there was something wrong with me. I would not let her do my laundry because I want my socks a certain way.
Is your right foot significantly like different shape than the left?
You mind your own damn business.
I was reading a David Sedaris book.
I have very large, big toes, and they stretch out my socks differently.
Okay. God, I don't calm down. I'm not here.
You know what they say about a guy with large, big toes?
Big shoes. Yeah.
Nothing. They don't really say.
They don't say anything about that
because it's just weird.
No, years ago I read a David Sedaris book called Me Talk Pretty one day, and there's a whole chapter devoted to his OCD habits. And when he was younger, he would put his tongue on the doorknob, and he had to walk around 3 times before he opened the door, and he had to walk around 3 times before he closed the door, and he was doing this at school, and his teacher was losing it. So she went to pay him a visit at home, and David comes home, and the teacher was there talking to his mother. And she had told him like all the things that he was doing at school. And after she left, he's like, "Mom, come on. Who cares if I have to lick the doorknob or if I want to turn around 4 times before I put my sock on?" And she goes, "Well, you're English teacher, that too."
My dad counts. My dad counts. He counts his pockets. He counts everything. And he doesn't even know he's doing it half the time.
Yeah.
And he'll count by 2s. He'll count by 10s. Wait a minute. Wait, 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. I was sitting when I was a teenager. I was sitting in the kitchen once, and we have a bathroom right off the kitchen, and I heard him in there talking to himself. And instead of counting that day, he was saying, "Hey, you." I opened the door, and he's looking in the mirror, combing his hair, going, "Hey, you. Hey." Just for like 20 minutes, he's doing this. And I'm thinking, that is the funniest thing in the world. He comes out and I said, "Dad, were you talking to you or were you actually talking to your..." "What are you talking about?" I was like, "I heard you say, 'Hey, you,' like 40 different ways." So yeah, I'm not that bad. My sock thing, that's a private matter. Now, not everybody doesn't know about that. This is a rare.
Well, they do now.
Hearing of this, Now 3 people now know about this, other than my wife, my ex-wife, and me.
We have listeners in Denmark and England and Russia.
Yeah, the Denmark ditched us. The French lady, I think, is just
the Russian ones. The Russian ones are probably familiar with my work.
Yeah, I bet. But
No, seriously, when we did what the first movie I did with William Lee was called 3 Knee Deep. And before it was even released on DVD in the United States, it was being bootlegged in Russia.
Oh wow.
Yeah, wow. He has had so many of his movies that are out there. There are Russian bootlegs running around out there, and I want to get a hold of one. So it has me dubbed in Russian.
Nice.
Oh yeah,
that would be cool. That'd be cool. Let me tell you one OCD story real quick, and I don't know that I don't think I did this bit at any of my times at Wiley's that you would have seen, but
I wouldn't have watched it.
Wow, thanks, Don. Wow.
Well, no, that's not you. I never watched the open mics.
Okay.
Because here's why. I had several people that decided they wanted to get my opinions on their set after they've performed twice.
Yeah. And they would call you. Yeah.
And they would start sending me Facebook messages. And the one guy did it at like 11:30 on a Sunday night. And I had to be at work at 6 in the morning. So I told him exactly what I thought about his set. And that was the last time he ever came to the club.
Yep. Well, I do a bit where I, talk about how my wife would not be a good superhero because if somebody needed help and she needed to leave, before she could leave the house, she'd have to check the stove. And she always touches the eyes of the stove. She says off, 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 off. And then she checks it again, off, 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 off. And then, you'd think
it doesn't count if you don't touch the knob.
Yeah, you got to, well, and then she does it like a third time because, she was either wrong or one accidentally popped back on or, and then you got to see it, touch it, say it 3 times or it could still be on,
Well, yeah, because one of them might not feel right when you touch it. I get this because I do this before I leave the house. I don't say off, but I will touch every single one of the oven knobs before I leave the house.
Yep. But yeah, I've done that bit. My wife's like, you know what? I think you ought to stop doing the off, 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 off bit. I'm like, okay.
But did it hit too close to home for her?
I think I don't know. She's not offended by it, but she's like, I think you've worn that one out. I'm like, okay. All right.
Yeah, I think you've worn the stove out by doing it.
Exactly. Thank you, Don. Thank you.
But do you find, as a comedian, let me ask you this, as a comedian, do you find it difficult to talk about marital things without your wife getting mad?
No,
you don't find it difficult.
No,
she'll accept it.
Yeah, the stuff I talk about isn't so bad that she's like, I can't believe you're airing our dirty laundry out in front of your audience, and I go back to the Ray Romano. Someone once asked him, does his wife mind? He says, I tell her just to go cry on a big pile of money,
Right.
But no, I don't.
Well, until you get the big pile of money from doing it, that doesn't.
Exactly. Hey, I've made over $300 doing comedy in the past 3 years. So
I own a comedy club. Yeah. I've lost thousands.
There you go. Hey, kids, get into comedy. There you go.
Absolutely. Just make sure you have a good job.
Exactly.
But no, that's one of the issues that I had is because I always talk about some personal stuff when I'm up there, and some of it's deeply personal. And to me, I'm making fun of myself and my own life.
Yeah.
But yeah, that my comedy is a big part of the reason that I live alone now. And I still get angry text messages every now and then.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, cool. Well, Don, listen, man, it's been great having you as our first guest. I really appreciate you coming on, doing this, and I appreciate again.
It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, thank you for promoting our show early on. Tell everybody where they can hear the Life Radio show.
You can find the Life Radio show, actually the easiest way, if you go to thelife1069.com. There's some stuff about me. There's some links to some of my movies. There's links to the episodes. I believe there's a blog on there where every time an episode's released, it actually pops up. I don't actually write a blog because who has the time? But no, you can find all of them on there. You can also go to Linktree at linktr.ee/The Life Radio Show. You can follow me on Facebook at The Life 1069, and I'm on Twitter at Don Smith Comedy. That's some of the places you can find me.
Okay.
You can also go to imdb.me/Donald Smith for some of my movie information is on there. So.
Okay, and the first person who comments that they've seen, is it 6 Feet Below Hell?
6 Feet Below Hell. 6 Feet Below Hell spent 2.5 years for rent on Redbox, which is unbelievable because there are some big blockbuster movies that don't spend but a couple months on there. So somebody was watching this thing.
Well, the first person who sees 6 Feet Below Hell, Mike and I will send you a hearty
heartfelt thanks.
Heartfelt thanks.
That's what we can afford.
Mike's looking at me like, what? What are we going to send him? We don't have anything to send him.
Sometimes
we got
Darren,
nothing.
We got Jack, Darren.
Sometimes Darren gets a little 4 fingers deep in Grandpa's medicine and starts promising all kinds to people.
Yeah, I understand that.
You get a free membership to our show for the next year. There you go. All right. Well, Don, thanks again. Thanks for being on the show. Really appreciate it. Good talking to you. You take care of yourself.
Yep, you too. Thanks a lot.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Thanks for listening to our podcast. Oh, and guys, it's been 3 months and you still haven't paid me. This is your announcer telling you to keep it real. Also, I can't seem to find my keys. Thanks for listening.